It's currently 10 to 1 in the morning and I can't sleep at all. Now, I've been here before, I'm sure you guys have been here before, where you're just laying in your bed, you're staring up at the ceiling, and you're asking yourself questions like, what on earth am I doing with my life? We all ask ourselves these questions, let's be honest. I've been sat on the edge of my bed here for about the last half an hour, staring at the door, thinking, what on earth am I actually doing with my life? But you know what's funny? Let me tell you a little story. This time last year, I was working a 9-to-5 job and I was starting my YouTube journey. I was doing fitness challenges, I was doing all sorts, and with those fitness challenges and my training for the London Marathon, I was running 10 kilometers, 6 miles every single day. But because I had a 9-to-5 and I was going to the gym after my 9-to-5, the only time I had really for the run was before work. And so every single day for about 2 months, I woke up at 4:30, 4:45, and went for a 10-kilometer run. Then got back, had breakfast, went to work, came back, went to the gym, had food, went to bed. I did that every single day. But in those times of doing all of that, I was still laying there in that bed looking up at the ceiling thinking, what on earth am I doing with my life? And I remember in those times, I was praying to myself, man, I really wish I had a lot more freedom. I wish I was working for myself. I wish I didn't have this 9-to-5 job. 1 year later, that's exactly where I am. I'm living those prayers that I was praying for this time last year. I no longer work my 9-to-5 job because I quit. I'm traveling the world, I work remotely, I make money online, and I've built this life for myself over the last 12 months. However, I've still been laying there for the last half an hour, looking up at the ceiling, asking myself the exact same question that I was last year, and that is, what on earth am I doing with my life? A lot of the times we think that by getting to a certain point, we're not going to be asking these questions anymore, and we're not going to be laying up relentlessly thinking about things and thinking about the past and thinking about the future and all these ideas. We think that by getting to a certain point, everything's going to be fine and that we're all going to have it figured out eventually. But I'm telling you guys now, as someone who has gone from that point praying for a certain thing to now getting to that certain thing, I'm now in this exact same spot, in the exact same bed, probably at the exact same time, thinking the exact same thing. The only difference is I've put in a lot of work and now my routine's a little bit different. But I still don't know exactly what I'm doing with my life. And the truth is, people, I don't think we're meant to. And if any colleagues, teachers, friends, family members are telling you that you have to have things figured out, that's probably because they don't have things figured out themselves. Life isn't about knowing what you want to do all the time, because things change. Our hobbies change, our passions change, our walks of life change depending on what we want to do. What I want to do now might be different to what I want to do in 2 years' time. And what I want to do in 2 years' time might be different to what I want to do in 20 years' time. And so me having something figured out right now, what does it matter? The meaning of life, in my opinion, is not necessarily to figure out what you want to do, but figure out who you are. When you figure out who you are, you're not worried as much. You're at peace. You feel fulfilled. You've got purpose because what you're doing, no matter what it is, feels purposeful because it comes from an authentic place. So the question you should be asking when you're laying in bed and you're looking up at the ceiling is not, what on earth am I doing with my life? How can I make more money? How can I get a nicer house? How can I get a better job? How can I get a better relationship? How can I do this? How can I do that? No. The question you should be asking yourself when you're laying awake there at night and you can't sleep is, who am I? Who am I? What are my morals, my principles, my values? What am I passionate about? What are my skills? What are my gifts? If you can't think of any answers for them, ask yourself the next best question, that being, who am I not? And then when you ask yourself, who am I not? And you come up with an answer, then ask yourself, okay, are my everyday habits and my everyday lifestyles and my everyday actions aligning with who I am not? If you are not someone who drinks all the time, but you're drinking all the time, maybe that's why you're up at night. If deep down you are not someone who is lazy, but you've been lazy for the last few days, maybe that is why you're up at night staring at the ceiling. If you are not someone who smokes weed and does drugs and watches porn and sleeps around, but maybe you've been dabbling in those actions for the last couple years, maybe that's why you're laying there in bed looking up at the ceiling, asking yourself these questions. A lot of the times in life, when we're anxious, when we lack confidence, when we feel lonely, when we feel sad, it's not because we don't know what we want to do. It's because what we're doing doesn't align with who we are. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. If you were supposed to have it all figured out, it wouldn't be a journey. What would life be? It'd just be a destination. You'd just be born at the destination. What fun is that? What you really should be doing though is figuring out who you are, asking yourself who you are, asking yourself who you are not, and then reflecting and seeing how your everyday life aligns with those answers. With that being said, today is day 72 of me making a YouTube video every single day for 365 days and seeing where I end up. And today, I'm just sat at the edge of my bed, pondering, chatting to you guys, and I hope this video has resonated with at least one of you. See you in a bit. God bless.